From their first giggle to their first words to the first time riding a bike, kids are pretty adorable. Well, that is, some of the time. I hate to break it to you, but for the most part, kids are little bundles of terror. Don't believe me? Well, stay tuned. Seriously, from monumental messes to getting stuck in the oddest of places to racking up sky-high credit card bills. Here are some moments where parents didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Kids are constantly getting themselves into all kinds of trouble. And I'm a man of justice, which is why I've taken the liberty of creating my own court of justice where I'll be weeding out the guilty and not guilty. So without further ado, order in the court, order in the court. All right, first up, we have a mother accusing her son Jace of taking snacks without her permission. The defendant has pleaded not guilty, but I'll be the judge of that. Jace, did you or did you not take snacks without permission?
No.
No, you didn't have a snack?
I did not have a snack.
Are you lying to me?
I'm not lying.
You didn't have candy?
I did not have candy.
No, you didn't have candy?
I did not.
But I told you about lying to mommy.
You don't make liars.
So are you lying?
Yeah.
You had candy, right?
I don't know if I did.
You don't know if you did? You lying again?
No.
You had candy, Jace.
Okay, Jace, no further questions. Based on what I've heard, not to mention the mysterious blue stain that is present around your mouth, I hereby find you guilty of first-degree snack theft, and you are therefore sentenced to life on the naughty step. Take him away, boys. Next up, we have another case of snack thievery. Tyrell Fullwood, a father from North Carolina, is here today to try and prove that it was, in fact, his son TJ who ate the cupcakes. Now, Mr. Fullwood, I believe you've brought video evidence of the crime scene with you. Let's review the footage.
No.
Who did this, TJ?
No.
Did you do this?
No.
Huh?
No.
You didn't do this, TJ.
Yes, you did.
Who got to them cupcakes, TJ?
No.
Did you do it?
No. But you did.
You didn't do this?
No. You did good.
You sure? This is your last chance.
No.
Are you sure? Did you do it?
No. Yes.
So you didn't push this chair over here, climb on there, and get them cupcakes?
No.
In all my minutes of being a courtroom judge, I have never seen someone looking quite so guilty. TJ, do you have any other defense?
No.
Well, then this court finds you guilty of first-degree snack theft. Next. Okay, it says here we have 5-year-old Nala Joy from Texas, who is here to sue her mother, Miss Shakira Brandon, on account of being a secret space alien. Now, Nala Joy, would you please come to the stand and tell us why you believe your mother is an undercover alien? And please remember you're under oath.
Why are you crying? And what do you think that means, Mommy? You think that means I'm an alien? Mommy, look. It's not meaning I'm an alien. These are the places that Mommy has traveled to, and this is just a picture of the earth as I travel. You scared of Mommy now? Come here.
So let me get this straight. You saw a picture of the Earth from space in your mother's passport and assumed this meant she was an alien. Well, based on the evidence provided, I really have no other option than to declare the defendant guilty of being an undercover alien. Kid logic prevails. All right, court adjourned for today, but rest assured, today's venture through shocking moments of kid chaos is only just beginning. Having children sure isn't cheap. In fact, in the US, the average price of just delivering a baby can cost upwards of $10,800, and raising it to adulthood costs an unbelievable $300,000 in total, according to the Brookings Institution. But the cost of feeding, clothing, educating, and enriching a child is just the tip of the iceberg. That is, if they get their grubby little mitts on your Amex card. Allow me to explain. 2020 wasn't exactly an incredible year for anyone, though it was especially tough for one Australian family when their 6-year-old son, Christian, accidentally made a few in-app purchases using their bank card. As he innocently played the popular game Roblox on his iPad, Christian didn't realize that treating his characters to virtual food 501 times would digest into a stomach-churning $8,000 bill. In fact, it wasn't until the bank alerted his parents of the unusual activity that they learned of their hefty investment in Roblox virtual food. Of course, they attempted to dispute the transactions, pleading to Apple that their son had no comprehension of his actions, but it wasn't enough to get their money back. That was until the story reached the press, and Apple suddenly conceded, awarding them a full refund. Sadly, though, not every unlucky individual receives that level of corporate public relations pandering. Generosity. In 2021, Jennifer Bryant, a mother from Brooklyn, received an unexpected Amazon parcel. An Amazon parcel containing no less than 918 SpongeBob SquarePants popsicles. And no, this wasn't some strange gesture from a secret admirer, but rather her 4-year-old son, Noah, who'd logged into her Amazon account and ordered 51 cases of SpongeBob frozen treats. All in all, Noah's online sweet treat shopping came in at a not-so-sweet $2,618. Jennifer pleaded with Amazon for a refund, but that was sadly turned down. Needless to say, her stockpile of frozen desserts left her in financial ruin. We've all been there. However, a good friend decided to post Jennifer and Noah's story on her Instagram page and set up a GoFundMe page, which in the end, thanks to floods of generous donations, toppled to over $25,115, meaning Noah's nautical nonsense somehow turned a $22,000 profit. Well played, Noah. Well played. But even when they're not costing you an arm and a leg, kids may wind up costing you something much more valuable: your freedom. But I don't just mean preventing you having time seeing your pals and play your favorite video games. Allow me to explain. In 2016, 6-year-old Robbie Richardson from Massachusetts was riding along in the car with his old man. Everything was fine. Well, that is, until Robbie witnessed his father do the unthinkable. He ran a red light. Outraged by his dad's criminal behavior, Robbie did what any good, law-abiding 6-year-old citizen would do. He dialed 911, alerted the authorities, and ratted on his own father. Robbie even went as far as to describe his dad's car, so the police would know who exactly to arrest. After his brave testimony, the police responder asked Robbie to pass the phone to his dad. Robbie's dad, Mike, spoke with the police, who were really more confused than concerned, and he apologized. Thankfully, it turns out that 6-year-olds aren't all that well versed in the rules of the road. Mike explained that he'd actually done a right turn at a red light, which is perfectly legal in the US of A. So all in all, there was no harm done. Well, that is aside from Robbie's family values. Turning on your own father? For shame. These days, self-care is all the rage. And rightly so. God knows it ain't easy keeping up this appearance. But enough about me and my silky, smooth, spherical body. Here are some kids who tried their hand at self-care. To kick us off, there's nothing quite like winding down in a hot bubble bath at the end of the day. Only these two tykes took the term bubble bath to the extreme. Take a look.
Jesus Christ. I can't stop it. I can't stop it. The jets are drying out and I can't friggin' stop it. Oh my God. This is a nightmare.
Children pouring in too much bubble bath cream plus bathtub water jets equals an unstoppable bubble mountain and some very amused kids. I mean, you can't deny that this does look kind of fun. Just not for the mom who's going to have to clean that mess up. Moving on to another form of self-care now. It's been clinically proven that moisturizing can reduce the signs of aging. But this next little lady has gotten a very early head start, though her choice of moisturizer is, well, see for yourself. Yep, that's yogurt. Nothing like fermented milk, sweetened with strawberry flavoring to give you a young and vibrant glow. But here's the kicker. It actually might. It just so happens that yogurt has actually been proven to be a great skin treatment across various legitimate studies. Due to it being rich in probiotics, aka healthy bacteria, yogurt promotes healthy skin functioning, calms inflammation, normalizes skin pH, and improves overall hydration and elasticity. Though I have an inkling several rigorous academic studies probably weren't the reason that this little lady was smothering herself in yogurt. But like many kids, she probably just did the weird thing because, simply, it felt good. A commendable approach to life indeed. That said, Yogurt Girl is a rookie compared to this next kid who evidently broke into the diaper cream and smothered herself from head to toe in the stuff. Dang, stick a carrot on her nose and that's a terrifying real-life Olaf from Frozen. But if there is a pièce de résistance of children failing to fully grasp how to use self-care products, then this next one takes the prize. Back in 2020, a little girl from the UK, Maisie Saward, noticed how her dad would style his hair using gel. Idolizing him, one day she crawled into the bathroom and got to gelling her own hair. Unfortunately, though, what Maisie used wasn't hair gel at all. It was hair removal cream. Yep, just like that, Maisie went from adorable to, well, let's just say she went from cute little girl to Chucky with a receding hairline real quick. Let's move on from this haunting image, shall we? If semi-bald little Maisie wasn't enough to teach you that kids can get up to all kinds of crazy when you're not looking, then perhaps these next few will. Starting with TikToker Espo9er, who apparently left his kid alone for a few moments and returned to, well, it's probably easier to just show you.
What in the heck did you just do? Seriously. Unbelievable. I leave you for 2 seconds.
Yeah. All I can say is that if you were on the fence about having kids or not, this may just sway you. Or catapult you over into the never in a million years side. Whichever. Though if that didn't do the trick, just get a load of this next one. One unlucky mom returned to her living room to find that her mischievous children had cracked open a tub of paint and got to doing a few, well, let's say home unimprovements. From themselves to the floor, couch, and even TV. These two little terrors did a thorough job of getting white paint everywhere. If I were their parent, I definitely wouldn't be laughing. Thankfully, I'm not, which means we can admit this is absolutely hilarious. Look how proud the little guy looks. But it seems these kids aren't the only ones who had a good time with a tub of paint. Yep. After a hard day's work, one father returned home only to find that his son was looking a little more purple than when he'd last seen him. Apparently, his sister thought it might be a fun idea to paint him purple, leaving him looking like he'd chowed down on some of Willy Wonka's magical 3-course dinner chewing gum. And sure, that purple is going to take some scrubbing, but he seems satisfied to be in a world of pure imagination all the same. Since it's not exactly possible for parents to always have their eyes on their kids, inventions such as baby cameras certainly help. That said, they can't really stop your child from being mischievous, but they can certainly give you the evidence. Take, for example, this little girl, Justice, who planned to bust her little sister Journey out of the crib. The mission was simple, really. Journey would clamber up the rail while her sister pushed the chair to the side, providing a safe landing spot. Let mission bust out of bed commence.
Get out, Journey. Okay. I got you. I got you. Okay, okay. Now you go on the hide and seek game, okay? Okay, go on the hide and seek game now.
And while you have to admire their ingenuity, if their parents want to keep them safe and sound in bed, they're going to have to take a few more precautions. Perhaps, I don't know, a laser security system? Moving on, for many men, their car is their pride and joy. Perhaps sometimes even more than their own children. So it seems understandable that this next guy might have had a tear or two in his eye when he discovered his daughter had left him a cute little note on the side of his car. Because nothing says, "I love my dad," quite like literally carving it into his car with a screwdriver. Or if you're anything like this next little girl, you might simply write your name. I'm not sure if this was intended to be some kind of assertion of dominance, but it's kinda working. If I were to write a message on anyone's car, it'd probably be to like and subscribe to Be Amazed for a regular dose of fun, wacky content just like this. Now, if you've done that, why not join me in the next section for more hilarious times when parents didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Okay, so you've probably heard parents say the phrase, "I need eyes in the back of my head." And while that generally means they want to be able to see what kind of mischief their kids are getting up to behind their back, it can also apply for when mommy is practicing her finest dance moves. And that poor little lady didn't know what hit her. But everyone knows you should never get in the way of a speeding booty. These are lessons you just have to learn the hard way, I guess. But there are some scenarios where even having eyes in the back of your head wouldn't help. This next situation is as good as any. One unlucky bride, Tanya from Ireland, was enjoying her special moment as she walked down the aisle. However, unfortunately for Tanya, there was a little hiccup that certainly made it a day to remember. Take a look. The worst part is, the diving child wasn't even the bride's. He belonged to one of the guests. Safe to say, there's a mother and a father out there deeply embarrassed that their little hellraiser made this bride's special day about himself. Still, it's gotta be said that fluffy-looking bridal dress does look quite enticing to leap into. You know what? Don't tell the groom I said that. He may take it the wrong way. Jokes and all aside, it's important to know the whereabouts of your child, as losing them can be one of the most heartbreaking things a parent can go through. This is something Brooklyn parent Precious Granton had to go through back in 2014 when her 11-year-old son Kareem suddenly disappeared. Panicked, Precious launched a citywide search to find her son, but sadly, nothing. And that was until the 5th day when Kareem was found at last. Where? Well, oddly enough, on the New York subway, where it turned out he'd been drifting around and sleeping for 5 days. I'm sure having her baby back at home was the only thing that mattered to Precious, though it turned out there was actually a hilarious and strange reason behind Kareem's disappearance. He decided to run away from home with $10 to his name after being asked to clean up the dog's poop, among other household tasks that he objected to. I mean, he clearly didn't think it through because the subway is way grosser than picking up dog poop. Still, with absolutely no evidence of parental abuse providing any darker motivations to this journey, it really does seem like this kid went AWOL purely to avoid his chores. You gotta respect that. While Kareem Granton was seemingly on a mission for freedom, some kids seem to be on a quest for the opposite, perplexingly getting themselves stuck in all sorts of hilarious spots. For starters, this disgruntled little fellow managed to clog the toilet with, well, himself. You have to praise him for his drive to explore, not to mention the impossible flexibility of his legs, but I can only pray he didn't use the toilet before taking a dunk. Looking a little flushed there, champ. Up next, we have a toddler doing what toddlers do best, toddling. Only this little toddler decided to toddle through some freshly laid cement, ruining hours of work. There's no getting away with this one. There's concrete evidence of who the culprit is. Now let's take a look at this next kid. Looking at her face alone, can you guess where in the world she might be stuck? Here's the reveal. She's stuck in a bucket. And while I hate to make fun of a kid, it's hard to deny how uncannily her face, squashed by the plastic toy container, resembles a blobfish. Unfortunately for the blobfish, though, its facial tissues can't be fixed by simply removing a bucket from its head. Moving on, in 2018, one 4-year-old boy got stuck in a much more baffling situation, as shown here, which raised the simple question, how? Well, it turned out he decided to try and cheat the system by crawling up the prize shaft of the claw crane machine to forage some of those precious toys. Only, getting out proved much harder than getting in, and alas, he found himself imprisoned. Luckily, firefighters arrived at the scene and had the boy out in no time, although it did cost him a few quarters. It's no secret that babies can be pretty gross. After all, they don't know any better. So, peeing, pooping, and puking is to be expected. Nevertheless, some of the gross things kids do is, quite frankly, on another level. For example, in 2020, a little boy from Indiana got creative and wanted to show his mom the rainbow he'd painted. Only for reasons you'll soon see, this rainbow had just one distinct color.
Logan, what did you do?
Ooh.
What'd you do with the poop?
Make a rainbow.
Made a rainbow with your poop?
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That's good, Mama.
Ah, it's like a Renaissance painting, except it's actually fresh butt mud smeared across the wall. You know how these creative types can be. Shockingly, the little artiste's mom didn't seem all that bothered about the steamy fudge pop decor. I guess her positive attitude is to be admired. But if that didn't gross you out, I'm pretty sure this next clip will. In fact, I'm issuing an official gross out warning. In 2021, a Canadian couple were attempting to have a photo shoot with their newborn baby. Attempting being the operative word, as the celebration of the miracle of life suddenly came to an unexpected halt.
Don't use that poop.
Here we go. And then close your eyes. Oh my god! I'm sorry, I keep on pulling.
With a dollop of fresh liquid poop and a ruined white shirt, the otherwise beautiful shoot was brought to an end. And perhaps the worst part about it was the fact that the diabolical little baby even lets off a smug grin in perfect sync with its dirty protest. Ain't life beautiful? As bad as that was, if you ask me, this next clip is arguably worse. While spending some time with his uncle, this baby decided to unleash a beast. Take a look at the clip and see what happens.
You
He likes your shirt.
see, it sounds like he said Padawan.
You go, Yoda. Man,
You smile at it and be like this, and then just.
he feels
Yo, why would you throw him, bro?
Now, obviously, you should mentally prepare for some mess while holding a baby. But given the speed of that sudden, disgusting explosion of baby spew, almost out of nowhere, I'd say the kid's uncle's swift exit strategy is pretty understandable. Now, by nature, kids are pretty much just accidents waiting to happen. Or, like me, just an accident. Anyway, point is, developing brains can often get themselves into silly or, even worse, dangerous situations. In fact, the brain isn't fully developed until around age 25, so it's not uncommon to see anyone from toddler to teen getting themselves into questionable situations. Like, for example, this kid playing on a slide. Or, should I say, attempting to.
I've got the tree. Watch me, Mom. And I'm at the slide.
That kid's head made such a percussive sound, it's only a matter of time before someone samples it into a trap beat. He's not the only kid whose embarrassing mishaps left him with a few bumps, though. Just take a look at this next little guy attempting to ride his bike down a hill. It doesn't take a GPS system to see where this one is going. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. It would seem traveling at a terminal velocity affects a kid's ability to not steer uncontrollably leftward. But at least he had his helmet on. Safety first. One parent who didn't put safety first is the guy in this next clip, who for some reason left his pressure washer in the capable hands of his 3-year-old child. If you didn't already know, these things can be so powerful that they can cause some pretty serious skin damage. But thankfully, it wasn't the 3-year-old on the receiving end of the pressure washer. In this video of irresponsibility and accidental reverse psychology, the kid was the one dealing out the pain.
Down, Jack. On the ground. Yeah, but not on Daddy. No, 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 Jack, it hurts.
Luckily, going by the dad's childlike giggle, we can assume there are no injuries in this instance. Though, let this be a reminder, do not give your 3-year-old a pressure washer. That's like the first thing they teach you in parenting school. But even when kids aren't playing with industrial machinery, their toys can be pretty hazardous. Just check out this mom that got quite the eyeful when her 1-year-old son was playing a baseball game.
Okay, I won't.
Did somebody say action replay?
Okay, I won't.
All right, just one more time.
Okay, I won't.
Oh, Mom, might I suggest you try catching with your hands and not your face? As we saw earlier, the first rule of parenting school is no pressure washers. The second rule, no wireless earbuds. What with babies' tendencies to try to eat absolutely everything, small objects are an irresistible, forbidden delicacy for our tiny human pals. But it would seem, even for kids who've already passed their toddler years, small objects still retain some of their culinary allure. Back in 2020, Kiara Stroud, a mother from Atlanta, learned this after she gifted her 7-year-old son some Apple AirPods for Christmas. Because, of course, these days, 7-year-olds require premium-priced audio devices to listen to Baby Shark. Anyway, things took a turn for the worse when the boy decided to hold one of the AirPods in his mouth and accidentally swallowed it right down. A visit to the emergency room and an X-ray would reveal the device was just sitting there in the boy's gut, but don't worry, there was no danger. The doctors were assured that the AirPod would, let's say, continue its voyage through the digestive system through to the other side. So, if you're of the belief that kids of today are only listening to crappy music, well, the inevitable aftermath of that story is your very literal proof. You're welcome. And on that tuneful note, that's it for today. Still want kids? Yeah, me neither. But let me know any of your own funny tales of child chaos down in the comments anyway. And as always, thanks for watching.